the next session is on the psychology of injury and rehabilitation, mental strategies for faster recovery. This lesson is led by Dr. Ashutosh Acharya, Assistant Professor in Lakshmibai National College of Physical Education.
Thank you so much. At the very outset, in the beginning, I am very grateful to the organizers for giving me an opportunity to present my ideas, to share my thoughts with you all. So before I start, I would like to know how many of you are from physical education background? Most of you. Okay, how many of you have studied sports psychology? Ever sports psychology? Okay, so my presentation today, I have thought of putting it in this way, that whatever things I am going to share with you all, whatever things I am going to discuss with all, I am going to discuss it in from two perspectives, from 2 point of view. First one is from the point of view of the athlete, right? And the second one is the point of view of the physical education teacher or the sports coaches. Okay, so from the morning itself, we have been hearing about many talks. We heard about from our doctor. We heard about different kind of sports injury. Then physiotherapists also were there. So I just want to tell you before I start further, I just want to tell you one thing, that remember, sports psychology is not something which you require only when you are injured or only when you are facing certain kind of problems, right? So sports psychology is something which can be just like you have periodization of your different physical abilities, like periodization of strength, periodization of speed. So similarly, you also need to have periodization of psychological skill training along with your physical training as well. So keeping this thing in mind, let us try to discuss, throw some light on psychology of sports injury and rehabilitation. Yeah, so this is the slide actually I would like to start with. The first thing is the two headings given here, personality factors and stress levels. So whenever an injury occurs, whenever a person is injured, just let me remind you, in my session, I am going to talk about purely the psychological aspects of injury. Okay, so when a person is injured, there can be many other reasons, but when we see that, when you try to investigate what can be the psychological reasons, so there are two basic factors on which whether a person will be injured depends upon. The first one is here the personality factors. Athlete or exerciser's personality can influence amount of stress experienced when you are injured. Do you have any idea about personality? There are different kinds of personality you might have studied. There are type A personality, type B personality. So what kind of person you are, what kind of personality you belong to, that has something to do with what kind of injury, what kind of reaction you are going to have when you are injured, right? Then comes probability of injury, the amount of stress, anxiety or arousal when you are playing. So when you are playing a particular match, right, you might have seen, you might have experienced, when is the chance of getting, when you are playing against a known opponent, or when you are playing against an unknown opponent, in which case getting an injury is more? When you are playing a known opponent or when you are playing an unknown opponent? Unknown opponent? How many of you think that unknown opponent is the right answer? How many of you think that known opponent is the right answer? Those of you don't raise hand in anything, what do you think? Okay. So then there are different personality factors like amount of stress, anxiety, arousal, then level of confidence, concentration and motivation. So these are the factors, these are the personality factors, which decides or which contributes to the factor whether you are going to get injured or not. And the second thing there, you can see that the stress levels, athletes' perception of a situation strongly influences injury. When suppose you consider a situation to be favorable, or when you are playing a match in the hometown, or you are playing a match against a very known kind of opponent, then in that scenario, your chance of getting injury is lesser in comparison to when you are playing to an unknown or a difficult opponent. Then strong correlation between life stress and injury rates. So these are actually, the prime points why a person gets injured. What are the factors, affects a person to be getting injury? So far as psychological aspect is concerned. Now we'll go to the previous slide. Now you see here, if you see here, there are different factors written here. There are, personality, coping resources, and history of stressors. So we'll discuss one by one. What do you mean by coping resources here? Because when you are having a kind of personality, when your chances of getting injured is more, right? So in that case, there may be different coping strategies. Like, do you know what is coping strategy? Anyone? Do you know what is coping strategy? Anyone here? Okay. When you are under stress, what do you do? Anything? When you are experiencing lot of stress, what do you do? Listening songs, that is one way. Anything else? Okay, now for an example, you are going to attend an interview, right? Just immediate before the interview, when you start sweating, when your heart rate goes up, when your palms, you start feeling cold, that time what do you do? What do you do? Breathing exercises, you take a deep breath, right? You try to calm down yourself. So those are the things, which we call it coping strategies. That means the strategy that you adopt to cope yourself into the situational demands are called as, coping strategies. So for an example, if I suppose I am under stress, right? I am under a lot of anxiety. Before, suppose tomorrow morning I have got a very important cricket match, right? So tonight I am under so much of stress that I am not able to sleep. Again and again I am getting different kind of, panic attacks. Sometimes, I am sweating, I am trying to sleep, but I am not able to sleep. So in that time, if you have or you have the mastery over certain, coping strategies, having a stressful situation is not a problem. But when you are not able to manage or handle that stressful situation, you do not have the ability to handle that stressful situation, that causes the problem. So then there is a huge chance of you being injured when you are going to play a match next day. Okay, so the coping strategy is clear. Then now we'll see that whenever you are having different kind of coping strategies, that's fine. You have an issue, you have a problem, right? You can handle it. But the problem happens when you do not have you do not have any idea of, psychological, cognitive strategies or different, strategies to manage stress. So here what happens, there are two different kind of, responses here. First one is internal and second one is external, right? So whenever you are injured, there will be three things happening internally, and the first one is cognitive appraisal. The meaning of, how many of you have faced an injury during your sports career? Please raise your hands. One here, others, okay. Those of you will definitely agree with me. The moment you are injured, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? When you are injured, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? That my career is over? There will always be a question mark to everything. Whether I am going to recover ever again, whether I am going to, come back to sports ever again. So all these things will be happening in your mind. I don't say that this will be happening in everyone's case, but definitely this will be happening in few cases. But there also will be some people who will see that, okay, this is just an injury, right? So when I take proper medication, when I take a proper care, I'll definitely get back to my pre-injured conditions, right? So how you perceive that injury or how your brain analyzes that injury is the first step in the internal response. What is the first step? How your brain analyzes that particular injury, whatever injury you have got. That is the first step. The second step that is written here, the physiological changes. What are the physiological changes happening? You know it since morning, you have been, these things has been discussed, but just briefly I'll say, you will see that, blood flow to that particular area is increased, right? So when you are under stress, under pressure, lot of, toxins will be released. Lot of, hormones will be released in your body, which will be further worsening the condition. So there are all these things, all these, physiological changes will be happening when you consider yourself or you consider that injury to be very bad or some kind of puts you into a doubtful scenario regarding your career. And what is the third thing? Third thing is attentional changes. So attentional, when I am saying attentional changes, what I mean is, so far, before you are injured, your focus was on the performance. Your focus was on how to do the workout, how to do the physical workout and get the best performance. But the moment you are injured, you forget about the performance. You start being worried about your injury, right? You ask yourself a question, is my coach going to accept me? Or is my coach going to, are my friends going to accept me? Whether my position in the team is safe or it is under threat. So all such kind of things will be happening. But now the key role here is played by the external factor. What is the external factor here? As I told you, that is different intervention strategies, or in short we call it psychological skill training or cognitive intervention strategies. If you have it, you are safe, you are not injured. But if you do not have it, if you do not have the ability to get back or to recover or to bounce back, then what will happen is you will definitely be falling into a situation where you will be injured. Okay, so now moving further, this particular model is clear. Have you understood this? Okay, so moving further, so now let us see that now injury has happened. Okay, so immediately after that, what happens? How there are different kind of explanations. Some say that emotional responses. Some psychologists say that it has got 5-stage response. Some psychologists say that it has got 3-stage response. So for your understanding, for your ease of understanding, I would suggest you focus on 5-stage grief process or 5-stage responses. What is the first point written there? Denial. What is the denial thing? What do you mean by denial? The moment you are injured, the first response will be, when you are injured again and again, what will happen is, you will deny yourself, you will restrict yourself from the participation. Right? You are not, initially when an injury happens, basically what athletes do is they are not ready to accept that they are actually injured, they need to take rest. What they do is, they continue doing physical activity, feeling that, yes, I can do it. Right? And when they do so, their injury gets further worsened. Second one is anger, then third one is bargaining, then depression, acceptance, and then last comes, acceptance and recognition. So here, these are actually the different stages or the 5 different stages an athlete has to go through when he or she is injured. Okay? And in addition to that, there will be other reactions like identity loss, fear and anxiety, lack of confidence, performance decrements, and group processes. So all these things will be happening with an individual when he or she is injured. This particular slide, I'm going to take little more time, but I will make sure that we'll go point by point. We are going to discuss each and every point one by one. Because sometimes we do not understand how our point of view or how our ethics regarding the coaching or training puts our athletes into trouble, right? What is the first thing written here? Act tough and give 110%. How many of you have ever said your athletes to give 110%? Have you heard anyone, saying his athlete to give 110% karna hai, give 110%? Have you heard about it? Yes. Is it right? When you say that, give 110%, what basically do you mean? You mean that your athlete should be going beyond his ability and try to perform. Is it correct? Is it ethically correct? Yes? No, it is not correct. Why it is not correct? Because we should understand that essentially each and every individual has got a limit. Each and every individual has got their own ability. So as a coach or as a trainer, what the first thing we should do is we should know the ability of our athlete. And the second thing is we should know the ability of our own self. So any mismatch between these two will be resulting in the putting your athlete into a situation wherein he is going beyond his ability and trying to overdo, and definitely it will result in injury. Then the second one is, if you are injured, you are worthless. This I would not blame to anyone, but this is happening. Many a times the message goes to the athlete that if an athlete is injured, you are not fit for this game, you can leave, you can quit. Many times it is said that, even sometimes I have heard people saying that that particular individual is injured so many times and a long time he's been injured and I think his sports career is over. So for you to say so or for you to do so is not correct. So like this kind of things like act tough and give 110%, and if you are injured you are worthless. So such kind of mindset should be changed. It needs to be changed. And this has to be changed at the level of you physical education teachers or at the level of the future coaches sitting there and already the coaches who are training the young athletes. And there are many other things like sports ethic. Athletes are encouraged to play injured or through their pain. Many times it is also, you also agree with me that you might have seen people, during the match, they get injured. But when they come out, when they come to the side, the doctor side, winning that match is fine. If you are ready to sacrifice your whole sports career just because of one match, then it's fine. At that time, it is the responsibility of the coach or the psychologist to ensure that the athlete is taking proper care or proper rest or nothing goes wrong, because that athlete's career in long run is more important than the match he or she is playing currently. Next one is athletes who follow the mentality are valued by coaches and trainers. So these are the different kind of issues that I wanted to discuss with you. Now going to the next slide. So now we are entering into the stage of recovery, because as I told you, the topic which I have taken up, it is about the psychology of sports injury and rehabilitation. So here now we are entering into the stage of recovery. Now injury has happened, how it has happened, what are the different setbacks it puts you in, that we have discussed. Now it has got 5 stages. The first one is starting the treatment. Okay, you are injured, you are sent to a doctor, the treatment begins. So the moment I say the beginning of the treatment, here I not only mean the treatment, the medical treatment, but also the moment the medical treatment begins, along with that, the psychological support or the psychological kind of backup is also should be provided. And the second one is mental illness education. So what is this mental illness education? How many of you have heard about imagery? Please raise your hands. Imagery. Okay, please stand up. If I ask you to give an imagery session to these people right now, can you do it? Can you do it? Yes. Yes or no? No, just imagine you are here, you have to, all these people sitting here are football players. So just give them an imagery session. Is your imagery session going to be successful? Yes or no? But please sit down. The reason why, at least he dared to stand up and say yes, give a big round of clap to him. Okay, so what I understand here is, he may be very efficient, he may be very good, giving in different kind of psychological sessions. But when it comes to making the people sitting here understand that what imagery is and how they should be doing it, so in one session, how are you going to do it? How are you going to convince them? So there comes the role of this mental illness education. That means here you have to educate them that you have to tell them that when you are injured or when you are facing different kind of health issues, certain kind of mental illness or mental issues will come. And if these issues are going to come, then these are the intervention strategies you must learn, you must gain mastery, you must practice, so that when these kind of mental issues are coming up, you use this strategy to get rid of it. Okay? So that is the second stage. Third stage is making a change. So making a change will be happening when, your injury is almost at the verge of, getting cured. Right? So making a change means bringing a change in your training pattern, bringing a change in your daily schedule, bringing a change the kind of training that you were doing already before you got injured, right? And the next point here is finding new meaning, because this is all those who all were injured will definitely agree with me. When you were injured, right? Okay. So when you were injured, please stand up. When you were injured, you recovered, right? How much time it took you to come back to sports after you have recovered? 1 day? 1 year? See, she has taken 1 year, please sit down. She has taken 1 year to come back, even though she has recovered from the injury, but it took her 1 year, 1 long year to come back to sports. So there comes the role of finding new meaning. And I can 100% tell you without even asking her, I can tell that 1 year would have been more painful than that period of injury. Because every time you are seeing your friends playing in front of you, your coach is giving them serious training. Just 5-6 months back, you were the one who was the part of the team, but now you are out of it. Right? So then at last, sticking with recovery, that means there comes the role of doctors. They will tell you, they will give you different recovery plans, recovery schedule, and that is the point where the coaches, again I quote, coaches has to keep this thing in mind, that the recovery is more important than training there. Right? So if that particular last aspect is not taken care, sticking with recovery plan, then what happens? There will be chances of recurrence of injury. And when an injury is happening or recurring again and again and again, that will put your athlete into a lot of stress, and there are quite a chance that you will lose your athlete forever. Okay, so these are the few mental rehearsal techniques that I'm going to tell you. The first one there are many actually. You might have heard about goal setting, concentration, anxiety arousal control, relaxation techniques, focusing, centering, then positive self-talk, visualization. Or there are many more also. But how many of you know what is arousal and anxiety? Arousal and anxiety. Okay, let me put it this way. Is arousal good for performance? How many of you, I need an answer. Is arousal good for sports performance? I'm not going to go further unless you answer this. Is arousal good for sports performance? How many of you say yes? Please raise your hands. Okay, please hands down. Is anxiety good for sports? Is anxiety good for sports? Okay, let me explain these two terms to you. Then after that I'll ask this question. Then let's see whether you can answer. When we are talking about arousal, it is not necessarily a negative state of emotion. Arousal is nothing but, it is a state of your body when, you are at, physiologically, psychologically at a point where you can give your best performance without much effort. This is arousal. When we are talking about anxiety, it is a negative emotion, right, which puts question mark against your ability or puts question mark against your confidence. So which one is good, arousal or anxiety? Arousal or anxiety? Okay. Now, you might have heard about goal setting. So because I think there is little time constraint, so I'll just go a little faster. So you might have heard about goal setting, SMART goal. Okay, so then I'm not going to tell you what is goal setting or what is SMART goal. Rather, I'm going to tell you all these things beyond SMART goals. There are different tips that you should be using to maintain recovery. I mean, especially at the time of recovery. Here, the first one is track progress. So every athlete should have in our NCOE, or for every athlete that we have, training in our different centers, we have, their own training diary. So in the training diary, similarly also, you should be having a diary when you are going through a recovery phase. So with each and every passing day, you should record or you should maintain a diary about your improvement or your developments. Then celebrate milestones. What do you mean by that? For an example, let's say an athlete has got some injury on the knee. He is not able to walk properly. Like for 10 minutes also he cannot walk. So let's say after 1 month of recovery training program or rehabilitation, he is able to walk for 50 meters. So that itself is a milestone. You should celebrate it. Why you should be celebrating it? Because that will be acting as a kind of extrinsic motivation for your athlete, and thereby he will be more motivated to sincerely practice the rehabilitation exercises or follow the recovery process. Then understand the setbacks. Don't be very happy or very excited just by seeing the little bit of improvement. At the same time, you also should keep your eyes open for the setbacks. What do you mean by setbacks? The things when you see that you are able to walk for 50 meters, next day you start walking, try walking for 100 meters. Okay, that also you should take care. Then you should adjust goals. You should adjust goals means what? Suppose for an example, there was a goal you wanted to achieve in this particular training session. Now, in the mid of the session, you got injured. So what you should be doing? You should change your goal setting. Your goal should be changed, right? No, wrong. You should not be changing your goal. Your goal remains the same. Only the duration that you have planned. Let's say you have planned to achieve it in 6 months. That will be delayed till 8 months. But never ever change your goal. That is the mistake many people do, that when you are injured, you modify or you change your goal. No, the goal remains the same. Only the duration or the time that you are going to take to achieve the goal, that can be modified. Then remember your why you have started this activity, why you are here. Then get support from people like us, people like Madam, people like, all these scientific backup people who are there to support you. So whenever it is required, take the support. So these are nothing but, this is also another technique you can use, which is called as self-talk. Self-talk means you talk to yourself. So you may be wondering, those people from psychology will understand. From, little scientific, from physiological point of view, physiology or biomechanics people, they may not agree, but, it is effective. When you talk to yourself, that gives a very strong message to your brain. Right? But again, what kind of statement you are using to talk to yourself also decides whether you are going to have this injury further worsened or it is going to recover, or you are going to recover soon. Right? So there are three kind of self-talk. There is positive, there is instructive, there is negative. Always remember, negative self-talk is very bad. What is negative self-talk? For an example, you say that this injury has happened. I have seen many of my friends with a knee injury whose career is over now. So this is going to be difficult for me to get over this injury. No. This is called as negative self-talk. What is positive self-talk in the similar situation? The positive self-talk can be, even though my friends, could not get back from that injury because of they were not serious, but I am faithful. I am 100% sure with the proper training, proper recovery exercises, I will make it, and by the next month or by this 2 months, I will be back on track. Okay, so this is the kind of talk which is positive self-talk. Then you may ask me one question, sir. Positive self-talk is done, negative self-talk is done. Then what is this instructive self-talk? You see, when I'm talking about instructive, self-talk, here what happens? You not only say that I will do it, You say yourself that how you are going to do it. You give yourself instruction. I will, go to the gym, or maybe I'll regularly go for this exercise. I'll regularly obey the kind of nutrition that I have been, asked to take. So all these are the kind of, so there are three different kind of self-talks: positive, negative, and instructive, right? So all of you, please close your eyes and listen to me. All of you, please close your eyes. Just for 2 minutes. Close your eyes and visualize one of the worst sports performance of yours, which you may be regretting now. Those of you who do not want to, don't, but don't disturb the one who is doing next to you. Okay, try to visualize that scenario. Try to see the persons who are standing around you. Just imagine if after the event you are calling to your parents and telling them you have lost the match or you have had a very bad experience. Imagine that your friends and very close ones teasing you or making fun of you. Keep your eyes closed. Now come back from that thought. Now listen to me. Come back from that thought. Keep your eyes closed. Now listen to me. Okay, now all of you take a deep breath. Hold for 3 seconds and slowly release. Keep your eyes closed. Now imagine the things that you have seen or you imagine which were negative. Try to find out the things that you imagine which were negative. Now, try to make those things positive and reframe the similar thought process in your mind again. For an example, if you thought your friends were smiling at you, now you say yourself that your friends were consoling you. Your parents were consoling you. Your coach was very much with you. Don't open your eyes. Take another deep breathing. Breathe in. Hold for 3 seconds. And breathe out. Slowly open your eyes. Okay, how do you feel now? This is the technique, the thing that you have practiced right now. This is called as thought stopping, wherein what we do is we stop first thing when you understand that you are going in a very wrong direction, you are thinking or you are feeling that your injury is going to finish or finish your sports career. So immediately at that point of time what you should do is stop thinking, close your eyes, take a deep breath, then try to absorb the similar thought by putting a lot of positivity into it. Then at the last phase what happens, close your eyes, take a deep breath, breathe out, you proceed. So when you do this thing, when you practice this thing, what will happen is whatever decision you are going to make is going to be always positive and is going to help you because it is a thoughtful decision. So this not only injury in your life, in your regular life also, if at any point of time any negative thought is coming in your mind, you can try this technique. We have got progressive muscle relaxation, biofeedback, meditation, autogenic training. Then yes, of course, these two kind of, there is one is chest breathing, another one is abdominal breathing. The basic difference between chest and abdominal breathing is when you are breathing from your chest cavity, but your stomach, your abdomen is not moving up and down, right? Like this. So this is the first sign and symptom that you are under stress. And when you are under stress, then when you understand or when you feel to realize that I am doing this chest breathing, then you need to convert this chest breathing into abdominal breathing. Because when you are relaxed, when you are asked to relax, you can see that you are taking a full breath. You are able to take a full breath. Your stomach is moving up, going down, and this is what is called as abdominal breathing. But when you are, sometimes you might have experienced, when you are going for a bout, when you are going for a match, you are not able to breathe. Your coach is saying so many things to you, but you are not able to listen. Right? Or sometimes you say that you complain, sir, I am feeling breathless. So that is the scenario you need to understand. That is a symptom that you are undergoing a stress. So that time there are many other techniques that we have discussed earlier. You can use to calm yourself down, or simply you can shift from chest breathing to abdominal breathing. Relaxation techniques can be useful in reducing anxiety, reducing arousal, reducing stress, reduce depression. Then these are the different techniques, relaxation techniques. Motivational music or videos we can make him hear. Then making him focus on present, accept help and support, optimistic goals. Or I want all of you to read this, but without making any noise. Just read by using your mind. The things that is written in green ink. Just few more slides. If you follow the right plan and procedure, you are sure to succeed. But there may be times when things can go wrong. However, you must never lose hope. Keep on trying, find out what is wrong, but do not quit. Memorize the famous quote, losers quit when they are tired, champions quit when they have gold in the hand. Okay, so with this, I have this small video to play. Okay, that video, ma'am, in brief, summarize the things, how recovery is more important. Injury is inevitable, definitely in one phase or the other phase of your sports career, there is a chance that you get injured, but how far you are able to take up that injury, follow the proper rehabilitation and recovery process makes you a winner. So here, injury is not the end of your journey. Remember, injury is not the end of your journey. So accept it once you are injured, accept it. There are different ways and means to recover, so follow it. Champions are not defined by how they fail, but by how they rise. Trust the process, believe in your ability to heal, and surround yourself with the right support system. Your mind is just as powerful as your body. Train it to see possibilities, not limitations. And last, the road to recovery is a challenge, but remember, comebacks are always stronger than setbacks. So stay committed, stay positive, and let your comeback be your greatest victory. So gear up and get started. Reward yourself even if you make any single accomplishment. Believe in yourself so that you can easily self-motivate yourself. Recall these self-motivation skills daily and you are sure to succeed. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the session. Any queries, anybody? Any questions, if anybody want to ask now? Okay, I think nobody has any queries. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the session.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.